Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to A Reseller's Journey. Here is your host, ebayjoey.
Welcome to A Reseller's Journey Season 3. I am your host, ebayjoey. Today's guest is having success in the reselling game locally and online. He is selling sneakers to Bolos, representing the 951. He goes by Marremator on Instagram, but his friends call him Ryan. Welcome, and thank you for being on the show, Ryan.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for the intro.
Hey, it's all good, man. I'm actually excited because I ran into you in the stores, man, sourcing.
Yeah. If that's where you're gonna find me, I'm gonna be out there.
And then you said, "Don't come to my store. I got the store on lock, man."
It's a waste of time, I tell you.
I walked out with nothing, just an empty Ross bag. But I think you were saying when I talked to you in the store, you said that's your local store,
Yeah.
and that you hit it up like twice a day. I mean,
least.
is that every day?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, sometimes on the weekends, I might only go once, or like if I know the restock's not coming, you just gotta know the restocks, man. You gotta talk to people, and if you know there's nothing on the trucks, there's nothing in the back, you're not gonna waste your time. But yeah, I just wait for the restocks to come out.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I don't think a lot of people really take the time to understand, as far as when do they get a truck, or when do the restocks happen. But in your experience, like, what kind of led you to get to that point?
Well, I mean, because I would drive around. I would drive around all over Southern California, and I would
Yeah.
come home with nothing. And then I would hit my stores on the way home, like the local store, and I'd
Yeah.
find my stuff. I'd find a bunch of cleats waiting for me, and I'd be like, "Why did I even leave?" So, so I started to focus just more on my local stores, and not so much on like going everywhere and just learning to time the restocks and to network with the people working. Say hi, and it's so I have more success that way.
Yeah, what was interesting is I've been to that your local store before, and I went at nighttime, and I was asking like one of the employees at Ross. I'm like, "Yo, man, like, where's the shoes at?" And she's like, "Oh, there's somebody that comes here twice a day," and this was like months ago, right? And so I think once you get to know the staff at the store, man, it seems like they really have your back.
They do a bit, and then they just kind of like they let you know, like if you don't go in there and say anything. Like my brother goes into stores and he doesn't say anything,
Yeah.
and you don't know if the restocks came out or not. So you're just kind of sitting there like looking through stuff and not knowing really what's going on. It's like such simple little pieces of information that can go such a long way. And then they're pretty consistent. Like the stores are pretty consistent. They schedule everything pretty consistently. So if you can time those restocks, and you can usually ask the people when's it coming out, and they'll tell you, as long as you're not like an asshole.
Yeah.
So like it's just really just if you can hit your restock at a store, I think you're gonna be more successful than if you go running around. Because I remember when I go running around, I feel like I'm chasing somebody, like somebody's already hit it right before me, like I'm following
Yeah.
somebody. You know what I mean? And because they already timed the restocks, and so I'm just running around finding garbage, and then honestly these days it's hard. You gotta the stores are pretty rough, so unless you're hitting restocks, you're probably not gonna find anything. You know what I mean? Like it's the restocks are everything to me. So and just being consistent, and that's where I find most of my success. And then I'm online now, so I do a lot of OA, and
Yeah.
it helps me scale. There's a little more risk, but it's worked out. It's going pretty good.
Yeah, no, I think I would love to talk to you more about that. I know you do a lot of online arbitrage, and if people are not following you, you do post on your stories more than you post on your Instagram wall. But um, how did you, talk about Instagram? How did you come up with your Instagram name?
That's just my personal account. I have another account called Mertown Merchants,
Yeah,
um, and it was like a reselling account I started when I first started doing this thing. And I'd post a little bit here and there, but I wasn't on there often enough. So I would just find myself just posting random junk that I was flipping, and like my friends and stuff thought it was cool. So I post more of it and whatever, and then people started kind of following me a little more. And I don't know, I just post it for myself more than anything. I don't really care like how many people follow me. I have no idea how many people are following me. There's probably not that many. And I don't know how many people ever see my stories or any of that. I don't know. I just throw it up there, and if I get a funny laugh or whatever, that's cool. That's all. If I can help somebody out, like, that's the biggest thing is I've had a lot of help through this thing, like through West Coast Goods. West Coast Goods has been a big help to me. And just a couple other people, and like Rinzi, like I just follow, Hustler Hacks, all those guys, I just follow all those guys, and a little piece of information that they gave out went a long way for me. So I feel like there's no reason not to give back. You know what I mean? So I try to help where I can without, shooting myself in the foot, things like that.
Yeah, it's funny how you mentioned, shoot yourself in the foot. But do you think that there is resellers out there that are posting too much, that they shoot themselves on, like what would you classify, shooting yourself in the foot, like on Instagram, like posting wise?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think a thing, like if you post like you go to the outlets, to me outlets are where you're gonna find a ton of money. It's probably the best place. That's where I found some of my best finds, and you're able to scale. You're able to buy in bulk. You're not just going to find one-offs, so you're able to post, like I got 8 pairs of shoes over here that it's, I only have to post one time. I don't have to take a couple pictures. It's way easier to keep track of. So the outlets are king to me. So if you go to an outlet and you find something pretty crazy, it's a good deal. I wouldn't really just be in a huge rush to share that with everybody.
Right. Do you think like resellers just can't wait or kind of hold it to themselves for a little bit, that they have to put it out there online?
I think it's a clout thing. I think it's like a follower thing where if you're getting enough followers, you start to get money. It's the money kind of starts coming your way.
Okay.
So I think it's just gaining followers, and then I don't know. I think people like attention. I don't know.
Yeah. I like your approach though, man. Like you just said, like you really don't care, right? You don't care how many followers you have or any achievements as far as on the IG goes. But how did you get that approach though? Like how'd that come out? Like when did it start?
I don't know. I just always been that way. I don't really care too much what people think about me, good or bad. So it's whatever, it's just for fun for me. It's for my friends, my family. Things like that. If I could help out in some way, that's cool. If I make your day a little better, I'm just trying to spread positivity. I think one of the things though is I follow Gary Vee, and he just he's always pushed being really real and organic, and like being yourself, not trying to be something you're not. And so that's just kind of the approach I'm taking. We'll see where it runs, see where it takes me.
Yeah, I think transparency is key, man. I think ever since like you and I, when we're talking in the store, we're similar age. I think we're identical age, 36. But it seems like, we grew up in a time where there wasn't the technology like there is now, the social media, and it seems like people want to live a different life on social media than what reality is, And I think, you're only lying to yourself. But if you could just be real, man, it is what it is. Like, like I recently I came out with a sourcing video, and one store, we didn't find nothing. I'm not gonna, it happens, right? So I did this fun all the time. And I think a lot of people don't realize, but reselling is not glamorous at all, man. Especially if you're hitting a lot of stores. You always don't come out on top.
No. Totally. That's why you got to pivot. You got this reselling thing. You got to constantly pivot, like always. When COVID hit, you got to pivot. You don't have your stores anymore. You got to figure it out. Right. I think a lot of people too, they think they're going to get rich quick doing this, and that is not the case. I'm not rich. I'm doing okay, and I think hopefully one day I might be, decent. I might, hopefully be rich. But but like for now, like no, I'm all money in. I have another source of income. I'm just reinvesting. And when I see how that pays off, like the reinvesting is so key. You can't plan to get rich. If you're going to do this, you need to have a ton of money up front to invest in this thing, or you got to have another source of income, and you got to kind of take baby steps. And I think that's what most people do. So I don't know.
What'd you start off with, Ryan? Like when you got into reselling?
I started off with, honestly, I just have, first we just did stuff I had. Like my brother sold some, I was doing my brother at first, and we sold some of his college books. He had some action figures, and I got on Amazon, and I just started throwing stuff, whatever I could put on Amazon. I created an Amazon seller account because I follow Reezy. And, you know, he had a link, and so I just set up a free account, and I started listing stuff. And we sold a couple things in like a week or so. And then on there, and then I was like, oh, no, this really happens.
Yeah.
I paid way too much for shipping. I made like no money, but I was like, well, this like people actually buy your stuff. So so we started watching Rinzi, and they flip shoes on Poshmark and Mercari. So we picked up a pair of turf shoes for $20 from Ross, some Trouts, on my birthday, March 1st. And we flipped them in like a couple days. We tripled our money, I think, or something like that. And so we're like, okay, like this obviously works. So, but I mean, it wasn't much money. You make $40 over 3 days. That's not going to support anybody. So, not in America. So I threw a little bit of my own money at it. I threw about $2,000 into it, I think, maybe even a little bit less. I used mostly a credit card, but I made sure I had enough cash in the account to pay it off. So it's like, you know, I didn't take on too much debt or whatever. It was just kind of an experiment thing. And I bought a lot of shoes, and I returned a lot of shoes. But I made some sales, and I think I did about $1,000 in sales or something like that the first month, maybe 2,000. It wasn't much. But it was significant where it wasn't nothing either. And I did it on my own. And so I just started running with it. Just started taking in knowledge. I didn't know much about sneakers. I didn't know much at all. I just followed Hustler Hacks, watched the videos every Wednesday, I think it was. And and I just started seeing what would pop up on there. And then if I'd see it in the store, you know, I'd check comps. You know, I'd check every Nike comp, every Adidas comp. I'd be in there for hours. Just being thorough and learning the market, learning the silhouettes, learning different, you know, everything. I didn't know anything. I literally had no idea what I was looking at. I didn't know the difference. I didn't know the difference between the different cleats. Learning the differences between the cleats was huge because I bought a bunch of crappy Turf Pros or whatever, and you know, they sat there forever, and I sold them for nothing. So you know, you learn the differences. You learn for that ACC. You know. You just gotta put the work in. And
I was talking to another reseller, and we were just talking about like he's always listening, right? He's always like investing his time into like content, like our content creators. And I was asking, I was like, yo, man, like, yo, how many people you listen to? And he just gave me a list of people, but it was like anywhere from like the thrift guys to the Nike guys, to the hype guys, to the Ross guys, you know, like, I mean, there's all these people out there, but I think that's key though, Ryan. It's like, you got to spend the time into learning this craft to be successful. And I think if you try to cheat the system and just go off of Instagram, what's kind of you're seeing through the feed, you're going to do yourself a disservice, man.
Totally. You should be finding the things that you see in the feed before they show up in the feed. That's when you know you're doing it right. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
You know, that's for me, and that's when you don't have to follow anybody anymore. Like, then you don't have to spend that time. Like, it's good to follow those people, but eventually, like, you don't have the time. I don't have the time.
Right.
I'm busy, man. Like, and people, it went from me asking people questions to people asking me questions like crazy, and I love it. It's great, but I don't really follow anybody anymore. Like, I don't follow stories. I honestly just have stacks of clothes over there that I need to list, and they stress me out. So,
well, you know what's interesting is, like, you know, you were saying at some point you're going to find the finds before they hit the feed. Now, do you think it's regional though? Because I mean, the guys on the, you know, everybody on the East Coast, or, you know, the South, whatever it are, you know, the Midwest, it seems like they get product before we do on the West Coast in California, man.
So I think it varies. I think it goes both ways. I think sometimes they get stuff first, so it's cool. It's good to keep an eye on that stuff. Like
Yeah.
I think like you follow the dudes that you know are on the East Coast. Like District Deals used to post a lot. I don't think he does anymore. But
Yeah.
like there's like Southeast Sneaker Finds, I think, or something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That guy,
That
so
guy. Yeah.
he's on the East Coast, so you follow him, you see what he's getting, and then you're in the stores, you know what you're getting, so you kind of know what to keep an eye out for, and then you know what to look for anyways, because you know what you're doing. So,
Right.
so yeah, I mean, it's good to keep an eye out on things like that. It's definitely regional stuff because I find things, and people on the East Coast will text me like, "Where the hell did you get that?" You know, and so it's like,
Interesting.
yeah, I think it
Do you,
goes both ways for sure.
Now, do you think that's the same for like the outlets that we have on the West Coast and also like the RA, the Ross, the Burlington, the Marshalls? Do you think some of that is just a exclusive regional?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally
Okay.
for sure. Cause I get cleats, I get elite cleats out here, and then I talk to guys in other areas, and they don't ever get them. And I know they're in the stores because they're getting all kinds of great stuff. So they're
Right.
not missing. It's not like they're missing it. It's just never coming. So yeah, I ask them like, you guys get the silver boxes, and they're like, nah. So
Yeah.
you know,
I was just gonna I was just gonna say that, man. I think we get the silver boxes a lot in
yeah.
Southern California.
Yeah, and then they get stingy with them in the stores. They like I went in yesterday, and right when I walked in the door, I haven't been in there much, and right when I walked in the door, they stopped me and gave me some new rule of some sort where I can only buy so many pairs of so
Yeah.
you know.
What was the rule that they gave you when you walked in?
Oh my God, what was it? It was I couldn't use the extra 20 if I was buying
Oh,
bulk. Yeah,
yeah.
if
The
I'm buying
20 on
bulk,
20. Yeah.
but to them bulk is 5. Um, and non-bulk was 3. So it's just like, come on, you guys, like you really come on.
Yeah.
Like what are you doing? They're like, and so I get in and they give me this rule, and I'm like, okay, we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna
Yeah.
stress. And so I find some mids, some Jordan 1 mids, and I'm copping them all. And
Yeah.
there, I walk up. There's only 8 pairs left, and I'm walking up to go pay for them. It's the only thing I have is 8 pairs of mids, and I'm with another person, so it should be fine. And
Right.
the manager walks up to me, and she goes, "Are these all for you?" And I'm like, I mean, come on, obviously. And I didn't
Yeah.
say that. I'm like, yes. And she and so she goes, "Well, that's gonna be a problem." I'm like, of course it is. So she gave me some spiel about how I could only buy 3 per
Yeah.
person, and so I had to put away 2 pairs of the 8. And
Yeah.
then they came back and told me, no, it's okay, I can take all 8 pairs. So,
Oh man.
dude, the guy standing behind me goes, "I'd be so pissed if I were you." And I was like, "It's just the daily thing, man. This is how they treat you." And
Yeah.
so, it's
Yeah, I heard about that manager at that store.
yeah.
That they it's almost like these people at these Nike outlets just make rules just because they feel they have the power, but there's probably nothing written on these rules, you know?
No, it's just it's a regional thing. It's a buy store thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of get the cap because I've returned a lot of pairs before. I don't do it often anymore, but
You're right.
so I get it. Like somebody were to buy 20 pairs of some shoes for a couple $100, and then they just $100 a pair, and they return 20. That's a lot of money. That's gonna
Yeah.
show up on your bottom. So I get it why they cap you, but to cap me at 3, and they know me, I don't cause problems. I'm just trying to come in there, buy my pairs, and leave. And so I don't, it's silly. It's silly, but it is what it is. And
Right.
figure it out. You pivot. So they capped me at 5 once to buy on cleats. And so I just went outside the store. I pulled out a bunch of cash. I paid every couple people I saw. I'd ask if they want to go buy me 5 pairs of cleats, and I pay them $20. And they went in there, bought me 5 pairs. I walked out of there 30 pairs. So you just figure it out, man. Like they're gonna try to cap you. You just go pay somebody to go get them for you. It's like don't take no. Never take no for an answer. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you just figure it out.
Yeah, it was funny because I was listening to Robert Kiyosaki today, and he was talking about when it comes to like the people say tax invasion or avoiding tax, but like rich people, they find a way not to pay taxes, right? So here's a rule, and they find a way how can they go around it. And I think as resellers, same thing, right? Nike wants to put limitations on us. What are we gonna do?
Yep.
You have to find the solution.
Yep. Yeah. There's always this. If you want it bad enough, you're gonna figure it out. Like, you know, and that's what I'm doing with this reselling thing is I'm making it work. So, you know, you just got to, if you want to do it, you got to figure it out, man.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. So are you doing this full time or part time, Ryan?
I've been full time. I was a stay-at-home dad before this, and I had to go get a job, and so I this is what I decided to do, and I think I might be losing battery here, but so yeah, I went full time. Been full time since the beginning, and we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm full time. I have no intention of doing anything else. I can't imagine having somebody tell me what to do again. I can't imagine clocking back in. I can't imagine any of that. I can't imagine like taking a paycheck like that. And like, I worked at Costco for like 11, 12 years, and it's a good job, man. It's great. Got me through college. I was able to pay my tuition up front. I didn't have to take out loans. It was great. But I make more money now than I did then, and I'm way happier. Like I remember getting in the car, to go to work, and it was hard to start the car, man. Like I just didn't want to go, you know. And now, like in the mornings, if I know there's something out there, I can't wait to start that damn car. You know, I'm gonna go get that money. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna go get that money real quick and come home. You know, like you don't have to sit there all day and slave away for somebody else to get rich. You know what I mean? You can invest into yourself. And if you trust yourself and you got that motivation inside, then you can totally make it work. So yeah, that's my mindset.
No, and I like that mindset because, you know, for a long time, like I recently got laid off, and you know, I was telling my wife that for so many years, every job I've had, I've made someone else money, right? And it's obviously it's a business, but my talents, I'm able to make somebody some money. And I just told her, like, I need to start making myself some money, you know, where it's like you change that mindset. Now, you know, this is barely my second year into reselling, so I'm still figuring out a lot of stuff, you know, but I think eventually I will figure it out, because if you can figure it out for a company you work for and it takes you time, I think you can do it for yourself. Now it's a little bit different, you know, you got to go eat what you hunt, but I think it just changes the mindset, because it seems like people that get a paycheck, like I can say I've been on both sides, right? Where it's like, I know what it feels like to clock in, get a paycheck, but then I know what it feels like to like start your day early and go out there and grind, and then start and then end late and then do it all over again, you know?
Oh man, yes. I work way harder than I ever have. Like so much harder, but that's only because you see the fruits of your labor, so you don't really want to stop. And then if you got other people relying on you and you're trying to achieve certain things, you know, you have this motivation, you have these goals. Where if you're just going to clock in, you're just going to clock in, you know, you're just there. You're just there passing time. And I remember I would figure out like how much I made per minute. You know what I mean? And, and it's like I don't think of that stuff anymore. I don't even think about the money really so much anymore. It's like it's more of just like the future and being able to reinvest. And it's just completely different. It's completely different mindset of how you live your life. And I hear people complain about things that they deal with, and I just like that alone. Like I don't care if I make less money. I don't want to deal with that. Like I'd rather not deal with that and make less money and work harder and have complaints, you know, having people tell you to do some of the environments you had to be in. I did tires. It broke my back. You know, I busted tires for 11 years. In one of the busiest corporations that does tires. And then at the end of the day, I got paid okay, but you know, I wasn't building anything. You know, it wasn't really anything for my future. You get your retirement, but that wasn't. You know, it was. You know, it depends. Everybody's different too. Like I hear everybody telling me how they just want to go, they want to do their job, and then they want to come home, and they want those two things to be separate. They can't. They don't think at least that they can handle having those two things, you know, mesh. And it definitely does. When you own your own business and you're doing your own thing, you don't really ever get to clock out. And that's definitely part of this thing that I struggle with sometimes is I'm told I'm not always present. And that's hard, man. It's hard to hear that from people you care about. But you know, you're not exactly going to be present either if you're working 9 to 5 and you're commuting 2 hours each way like I was.
Right.
In my last job. So it's give and take. It's in trying to find a balance. Always trying to find a balance. Yeah.
And sometimes you never find it, man. But you know, for the longest time, like my philosophy was like I work my 8 and then I hit the gate, you know, and it was just like you just showed up, you do what you had to do, and then you leave. And then once I got into reselling, Ryan, where it was like a part-time thing, at some point you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm making $500 a month, $1,000 a month, right? 1,500, 2,000, and then you're like, holy moly, like it's going up, you know? And then you start to think like, man, if I go full time, what is the ceiling, right? And I think for a lot of people that if you're doing reselling part time, there has to be a goal. Do you want to do it full time, or do you want to just have a consistent, you know, cash flow coming in? Because a couple of days ago, one Instagram guy posted, he said, having a side hustle, you can earn $10,000 on the side, right? Extra income. But he's like, and then the post said, try to get a $10,000 raise. It ain't gonna happen, you know, unless you get promoted by some, and then that's even difficult in itself.
Yeah, you get capped out. That's where I was. I was capped out working at Costco. There was no going up unless I started playing, you know, all the politics and trying to really work my way up. And I tried doing that for a while, and I quickly realized, you know, some of the bigger corporations, there's a lot of mommies and daddies and uncles and cousins and things like that. It gets hard, especially when they don't value things like I had a degree. They didn't care. They just cared about who, you know, your dad was, or your uncle or your grandpa or whatever. So
what's your degree in?
I have 2 degrees. I went to San Diego State. I have a degree in economics, and then I also have a degree in business.
Oh wow.
They're cool. They're helpful. They cost a lot of money, and they took me a lot of time. But I always knew, like, I just knew deep down inside that I wanted to do my own thing. Like, I always knew I wanted to do my own thing. If you look back in high school, they asked me a question, what do you want to be when you grow up? I told them I wanted to own my own shop because I like cars. I wanted to own my own shop. I don't want to own my own shop anymore. But you know, I do want to own my own business, and hopefully multiple. So yeah, man.
Hey, well, since you have an economics background and then also the business, what is your business model in your business?
Shoot. Good question. I don't know. You got a good idea for me?
Well, wait, how about this? How much profit are you trying to make? Like, I know you sell a lot of sneakers, but you know, is it a percentage or is it a dollar amount?
It's I think it's more of a dollar amount for me. Like I'm not taking anything out yet. I think when I can pay myself, it's really when, for me, I think it's when I see it where I can really not hurt the business anymore. It's really, if I take some money out and I can pay myself, it's not going to slow anything down. Because I think that's what's most important. Like these small term, you know, these short term payments that you're going to get is going to come and go. But if you're able to continuously multiply that money, that is so key in growth and actually making this thing grow fast. If you really want to grow fast and actually live off the thing, then you need to not take any money out. And so for me, it's when I can tell, like, it's not really hurting the business anymore. You know what I mean? Like, then that's just me personally. I know other people can't do that. You know, everybody doesn't have the same circumstances, so you can't always judge people. You know, everybody, and you can't always look to everybody for like a blueprint to how to run your business. You gotta evaluate your own circumstances, like in the whole thing, from how you get your product to how you manage your business. Everybody's different. So for me, I'm still learning how to manage this thing. I'm still figuring out how to set up a lot of different accounts, how to get things squared away to be as legit as possible. Because I did not think this was going to happen. I mean, I hoped it would, but I did not think I'd be making as much money as I do, or I'd be doing the volume that I do this quickly. And especially after COVID hit, things things went nuts. Like I'm doing 5 times the numbers I was before COVID hit. And before COVID hit was like Q4. So my numbers then were, crazier than ever then too.
Yeah.
And I also had sold a bunch of Kobe jerseys and stuff. So I had the whole Kobe thing happen. I bought Kobe jerseys the day after Christmas, and then, everybody knows what happened after that. So, a month later after, I buy these jerseys, they blow up, and I had 21 of them. So my sales numbers before COVID were great, and now they're even crazier. So I didn't expect this thing to blow up the way it has. So I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm trying to pivot, trying to get help. I realized that I can't do it by myself anymore. I need to get somebody to help me. I need multiple people to help me probably, especially with like listing, doing mundane things that are just like not a waste of time, but my time could be better spent doing something else. So my business model is going to be different than anybody else's. I'm still trying to figure it out. I feel like I'm still really early and young into this thing. And so for now, I just have a business account that I just run everything through. And I just run everything through those like 2 accounts, basically, like a credit card account and a bank account. And it's all just easy to kind of manage through that. But I'm still trying to figure that side of things out myself. So.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions based on what you were saying. So at what point, like you said you want the business to pay you. So do you have like a number or a ballpark of like at some point how much you would like to take from the business as a revenue for yourself?
As little as possible. No,
Okay.
I think it just depends on how things are going. Because for me, like if I were to base that on what I'm doing the last 2-3 months, then I could pay myself pretty good. But the past 2-3 months seem kind of like an anomaly. So I'm gonna kind of wait and see how things play out before I start pulling from it. Because if I start pulling from it now, I feel like it would hurt it pretty bad. But if I'm able to invest this good chunk of money that I've made over these last 3 months, then the future for this thing is huge. You know what I mean?
I got you.
So
I got you.
You know what I mean? 'Cause I feel like you can 10x your money in this thing pretty easy over 6 months or so. So to pull from it now and actually take a good chunk of money from it now seems silly, unless I'm doing something like buying like a vehicle or something to actually help me. Because like right now I drive a race car, and
I seen it. I see the red one.
Yeah, man, it's not ideal. I had an SUV before this, and I had to choose between the SUV and the race car. And the race car, it stays, so I had to figure that out. So it's time for me to get a different car. So I think like reinvesting into the business that way is a good idea. It'll allow me to do more things. Like I've been selling pools, and I could have delivered a bunch of these massive pools to people that needed them delivered instead of making them come to me because all I have is a race car. So I think it's time. You gotta step back and evaluate your own self and what you feel comfortable with. You gotta go with your gut, man. More than anything, you just gotta trust your gut and sometimes you just gotta take some risk and say, screw it. Like this is we're gonna try, and if it works out, it works out. If not, oh well, we're just gonna keep it pushing.
Right, and then
so I don't know.
And then
go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say also. I sorry to interrupt you, but also you can always get a job. You know what I mean? And I think, I mean, not that you are, but I'm just saying for a lot of people, like I told my wife, I want to give this reselling full time a shot. But if it doesn't work out, that's what I'm trying to say. But like in our minds, it's like we don't want to fail. We're not gonna fail. We're gonna keep pushing, right?
Nope,
and so
you're not gonna fail.
Exactly. So what platforms are you selling it on, Ryan? Like what's your main go-to?
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, and you sell on all of them. Like you just gotta post them on everything. But for me, my main platforms, I started off, my first sale was on Amazon. Well, honestly, like I was selling stuff back in the day. Like I would sell car parts online on I don't know, random forums and stuff back in the day, and I liked that. Like it was something about doing that like clicked with me. It felt good. It felt like I was getting free money. It was cool. So I sold stuff a long time ago. So my eBay account is from like 2004, and I would buy and sell things just randomly. But I just remember thinking back, I'm like, this is cool. I thought it was a cool thing, but it just wasn't quite the thing it is today. And so I first started out selling on forums and things like that a long time ago, Craigslist. And then I moved like recently, like last year when I first started actually reselling, I started selling on Amazon Seller. And then my second platform was Mercari and then Poshmark. And then the only reason I wasn't on eBay yet was because I didn't know. I thought just like Amazon, you couldn't sell Nikes on eBay.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know. I just didn't know. And so I ran into Sam at the Nike outlet, West Coast Goods, and he told me, he's like, man, he's like, I saw him, I recognized him from his IG, and I'm like, hey, you're West Coast Goods, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, hey, can I just follow you around and see what you do? Like, legit, man, I'm trying to figure this out, and I don't know what I'm doing. And I was just honest with him. And he's like, for sure. Like, just he's a cool ass dude. And most of these resellers, most of them, like, you can tell kind of who's a jerk and who's not, but most of them are pretty cool. And so, and especially if you're a pretty real guy and you're not, you're not trying to be a dirtball. And so, so I hit him up. He let me follow him around. He showed me some stuff. I actually found some stuff for him. He picked up some stuff. So I helped him out like right off the gate. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm like, hey, look at this. He's like, oh, yeah, those are fire. Let's get them. So we took the whole rack. And so we exchanged some info, and we went sourcing again a couple weeks later, and I have a good relationship with Sam now. He's my guy. I support him in everything he does, and he supports me. So it's like from the very early on, just the networking, and then so I got on eBay because of Sam, and then and then I started. That was it. And then I started selling on Goat and StockX a little bit. I honestly don't really like those platforms that much. I like Goat. Goat's good. It's been better. In the past, it hasn't been that great lately, but StockX is not my favorite. People just lowball on there so bad.
Goat's getting out of control though too, man.
Yeah, they take delays, and then I have some pairs that need to be consigned that have been sitting there for months, and they just haven't taken pictures and listed them for me. I got like 10 pairs just sitting there waiting to get taken pictures of. It's like phone posits. Like, got to be a couple of grand worth of shit. So then I started getting on StockX and Goat, and then recently I started selling on Facebook Marketplace, and which I thought was bullshit. Like, I heard other people would sell on there. I was like, there's no way. But dude, it's legit. Like, I've sold some stuff on there. I'm like, okay. Like, I get hit up for sneakers sometimes, and people are willing to pay the high for them. And so it's like, oh okay. But I definitely think it's important to list certain things on other platforms, because you can just get more for them. People sell shoes on these platforms and they get credits, and so they don't want to go buy them from StockX because they don't got credit there. So they they're willing to pay a little bit more to get them from you right there on the spot, instead of waiting for them and then paying extra, So it's important to list everywhere. If you know of a platform and you're okay with listing, like, just list it there. Like, it's the more eyes, the better to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we were talking about that in the store with the weights and the pools, man, and how like OfferUp and Facebook has been really good for you with those two categories. You know what I mean? Like, just moving them. And same thing for me, man. It's like, I don't want to put a 10, 15, 20 pound kettlebell online and then ship it. The box breaks or something. There's just too much risk involved. But I think that's key, man. Know your platforms, know your products, because like for me, I have certain products that are on Amazon only, some that are on eBay only, and sometimes you get lucky, you put it across the board, whatever it is, as many platforms as you can get. But that's definitely key, Ryan. So what's next for you, man? Like, with your business, like, what's the next thing you want to accomplish or tackle?
Just prep for Q4. Just really be ready this year. I wasn't ready last year. I was going through some personal stuff. I was moving, I was selling a home, and so I wasn't really prepared. I was actually renovating this home and myself. So I started my first day of renovating was like the first week of the last week of November. So it was right when everything was getting nuts. So I just wasn't really prepared, because once Q4 comes, man, your stuff just flies. Like, if you're new to this, just keep your prices high, and if you can hold out till then do it, because everything, it just goes. especially up until like about a week or two before Christmas, and then things kind of start to taper off then. But I just remember just being blown away by how my little bit of inventory, and like I've been doing it for like 7 months at the time, was just flying, and I was doing legitimate numbers to where I could see this can actually be a real thing. If it's all about scaling, and so I could see if I was able to scale it. If I'm able to scale it by this year, then it's just going to be insane, and I should be able to live off this thing hopefully going into next year.
Yeah,
So
I think you will, man.
I do too. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, keep us posted on the show. So since you sell a lot of shoes, man, and that's like your main bread and butter, do you have like a go-to sneaker that you like to wear?
Dunks, like some Dunk Lows, some SBs,
Okay.
Nike SB Dunks. Yeah, those are my favorite, man. This is the most comfortable for sure. That's my
You're
go-to.
You're the second person to say that, man. The SB Dunks Lows.
Dude, the best. They're by far the most comfortable. And people kind of look at you funny when you like. I think the other resellers know you're a reseller if you got some Dunks on or something. Like they know
for
you know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, Dunks, man, for sure. I love my Dunks. I'm looking for a new pair actually right now. I need a new personal pair. And I don't buy a lot of personal pairs. I don't have a lot of nice shoes. I mostly just wear like some decent bricks that I find at a good price. Like I'll rock some Max or something that I find from Ross.
Okay.
I'm not crazy. Yeah, I don't go too crazy yet. I don't feel like I haven't found like the sneaker yet that really, the chunky dunkies, man. I look them up every once in a while, my size, and see what they're going for. I definitely want a pair of those, but yeah, the Dunks for sure.
Awesome. Where can people find you on social media, Ryan?
Marremator, Marrenator on IG, and that's pretty much where you're gonna find me. And then I also have Mertown Merchants. I'm not gonna spell that. It's long.
We'll put a link.
Yeah.
We'll put a link below.
For sure. Yeah, you can find me on IG. That's where I'm at most of the time. Just being myself. I think I posted a picture of my butt the other day. So
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, you're probably lucky. So yeah, it's my personal account, but I definitely post what I do. And more than anything, if you have a question and you need some help or whatever, like, and you feel stuck or whatever, like, slide in my DM, man. I will help you the best I can. You know what I mean? Like, you got to give back, and it all comes back around. And I love to see people win. I'll help you the best I can. So yeah, hit me up. For sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you, man. You can help me out. We'll go to the outlets. We'll do it real big. So last question: who is your favorite reseller or resellers?
I gotta say, like, I gotta give it to my cook group. Like, it's a group of guys. It's called Toy Retro.
Yeah.
These guys changed everything for me. My boy Trace on there. This guy Trace. If you guys want to join, you guys can hit me up my Discord. I can probably get you in. But my Discord group, man, those guys, they cook, and it's a small group, and so I appreciate it. That's a small group because it's more tight knit, and we help each other, we lean on each other. So yeah, for sure, those guys motivate me, they inspire me. Yeah. The people in my circle, man, they've changed everything for me, and I gotta definitely give them credit. And then definitely West Coast Goods, man. That guy, he's constantly pumping out. He doesn't give you all the bolos. He give you some bolos, but you don't really need bolos, man. If you're really trying to do this thing, you shouldn't be looking for bolos. Like that's not what you. I mean, unless you're in a group and that's what they do. It's great, but like you shouldn't be searching IG for bolos, really. Like you should be out there finding it yourself, or being in a group and networking with people and figuring it out. So yeah, definitely my Toy Retro boys, man. Those guys cook. Shout out to those guys.
Yeah, shout out to the group, man. I always like to say, coals that are hot, that stay together, remain hot. Anytime that one coal goes out on its own, it's done, man. It's cool. It's cooling off. So yeah, I think it's great to be with like-minded people, Ryan. Any final words before we close?
Just if you're trying to do this resale thing, don't give up. Just don't give up. Keep it pushing. Figure it out. Pivot. Try to reinvest as much as possible, and just stay positive. Spread positivity to other people, and it'll come back around. I guarantee you. And just be real. That's about it, man.
No, that's what's up, man. Well said. Marremator, thank you for being on the show today, man.
My pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity. This is I had no idea what to expect. It's actually pretty fun. It's good to get the message out to people and help in any little way that I can. If I could help just one person, like it sounds so cheesy and cliche, but it's so true. Like it just feels so good to see other people win. Like a year ago, I really did feel like I was in a bad spot for sure, and I thought things were gonna be pretty bad for me, and I've never been more optimistic about my future. So just stay positive, and you can do this. If I can do this, then you can too. And good luck to everybody out there.
Yeah, man, it's not really cliche. I know you do hear a lot of people say that, but I'm a firm believer that we learn from other humans, man. Whether it's to drive a car, to walk, or anything like that in life, like you have to learn from somebody else. And so I think this podcast gives that opportunity with people like yourself coming on the show, man. So I appreciate it, and I know you got a busy day today, man.
I'm about to hit Ross back up for the second time, and I got to pick up my mom and my kids. So I'm a single dad. I have kids. I have my kids 50% of the time. We do homeschool through this whole COVID thing. There's no excuse. I find no excuse to figure it out, man. If you really want it, you figure it out. And I want it pretty damn bad, so I'm gonna figure it out.
Absolutely. You can find today's guest on Instagram at Marremator. You can visit the show's website at resellersjourney.com, where you can find a link to my Instagram at ebayjoey and the show's Instagram at a reseller's journey. If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to subscribe and follow on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Remember, never forget why you started.
That's right. For sure, man. That's a good message.